Put This On, Season 9, Episode 3, where you watch the Joe Schmo Show 2025 S09E03 and Shaboy Chris Lorenz.
Button violation. This is Brian.
Those are all quotes from this week's show. But last week we watched Worst Cooks in America. We did a poll up on a site I don't like to name, x.com, and you guys voted a bottom third show. So tell us what you thought about this show at Who Put This On. Brian, what was this show?
This week we watched the Joe Schmo Show rebooted for 2025. The arcing, hilarious hoax reality show where one unsuspecting contestant thinks that they are competing for a chance to win money amongst a group of scripted improvisers, each playing a different classic reality show stereotype. Every day, the actors and an entire working crew struggle to keep the mark, Joe, from discovering the hoax, something made more difficult by the increasingly over-the-top nature of the show within the show. And that's Joe Schmo Show. You can find it on TBS.
Thank you, Brian. So we've done this show. We've done the Joe Schmo Show from 2000 and whenever that was. We've also done, what was the one on Amazon Prime?
Oh, Jury Duty.
Jury Duty. We've done that one. We've also done a little known one from the UK where they try to fool a bunch of people into thinking they were going into space.
Oh, I forgot what one that one was, but
yeah. But I would say of all of those, this is probably the best one.
yeah, I feel like the space one was so.
Well, the space one I think is the worst.
Yeah,
the space one was the worst.
Yeah, I have no idea how people believe that. Jury Duty was like just funny, but it also felt like okay, like I don't know how, like I would not expect these characters to be in Jury Duty.
I guess there was also that another couple that were similar to this was like I Want to Marry Harry, where they tried to pretend somebody was Prince Harry. And then there's like Joe Millionaire, where they try to pretend somebody's a millionaire, but he's not. Like just kind of like trickery kind of shows where there's like a secret that can't get out.
Yeah, I think there is a slight difference between those last two in that those last two, like they tried to deceive like for like different reasons and like mess with people's emotions. Whereas this one is just like, it feels like a giant prank. And that's fine. Nobody's hurt. Nobody's anything. And the person is supposed to get something at the end.
Yeah. I mean, the space one, I feel like you're hurting a lot of people's emotions there.
Yeah.
I think all of them are emotionally like distressing, I think, to a certain extent. Especially if you're the Mark. So like the Mark in the show is Ben. We do hear his last name at some point, but I had to write it down. We got Ben. He's from Baltimore, and he's a self-proclaimed goofball. And the host of the show, Kat Deely, says they tried to find the most heartwarming person to be the Mark. I don't know if that's good or bad. They're obviously trying to repeat Jury Duty. Like they're like Jury Duty was huge, so let's redo Jury Duty. We've got this property, Joe Schmo. Like we have the OG Jury Duty in Joe Schmo.
I think it's easier to have somebody who's wholesome in this role because then it's like easier to predict. You know that like they're just gonna be kind. Whereas like if somebody's just a dick, they're just a wild card.
Well, they're trying to find somebody that's wholesome. They like picked a wholesome person.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying like I think that like Jury Duty did that for a reason. This show did it for a reason. Like I think it's just easier to predict and it's also easier to root for them.
Yeah. The criteria for picking the space one was how gullible they were.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty deep one.
I'm just saying. Like
I like this criteria way better.
For sure. So what happens if Ben makes it to the end of the show, which I don't know how he doesn't make it to the end of the show. If he finds out it's a fake, I guess he doesn't make it. He wins $100,000.
I don't understand that whole winning thing because it's like it's the other people that messed up if he discovered that it's not a reality show. So why wouldn't he get anything in that point? Like other people messed up.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Brian.
There's probably and do you think that there's ever been like anybody who has found out and they're just like, okay, we gotta scrap this?
I I would say I would think so. At least you would
I,
try. At least like I don't know. You probably have some backups, right? Like it depends how
yeah,
soon he finds out, right?
right.
Which in this episode he does call out somebody as an actor like right away.
Yeah. And I don't know how, but I guess like I mean it's just too over the top. Whatever. We gotta get into that like when we get to it.
Yeah. Um so we meet Ben and he is in a car and they blindfold him and they bring him into this room where everyone already is and everyone already knows everyone else, so they're all acting like they don't know anyone, which I feel like's pretty hard to do. I don't know, like that's like a like this acting job for these actors, this is next level. Like this is a high like stress environment for these actors. uh
Yeah,
so
they're also
they
not
come.
getting like they're not getting like very pro actors. They're just getting like minor comedians and stuff like that. And I wouldn't expect them to like just be able to like forget all that stuff. Like they'll be able to perform a little bit, but at the same time, like they probably don't have the same range.
Well, it's like such a different acting job than a normal acting job. Because like a normal acting job, you get takes, you get to like try again. Like in this, it's very much like improv. Like you're improving, but you're also like you can't find they can't find out you're improving. So it's
Yep.
like it's almost like you're on SNL. Like you gotta make it through the sketch without laughing, right?
And of course, we all know even like in SNL with professional people, not the case.
It's true. People do break, which I guess we'll talk about. Uh, so you see a bunch of behind the scenes stuff. So like you see like this command center room with all the producers and they're all watching all the cameras and they're like giving like I don't know notes to people to do stuff. Um,
It just kind of reminded me of the prank panel where like they had that in just a van, but now this is like super extended.
yeah, this is so the best part about the show even before we get into it is like seeing the behind the scenes of how like probably a lot of these shows get made is like there's like some sort of van and like and they're trying to get everyone corralled into the right places and like it's hectic and we get this show you actually get to see that, which is cool. I like that part. And then the other part that I liked about the show was like all the interviews with the actors and describing their experience being in this like situation, which is almost that is a reality show in itself, which is like how the actors are in this fake reality show and how they do or don't give things away and how stressed they are and how not stressed they are, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. I think one of the thing that I'll add to that, and that like, it just still makes me think about like how, like, what are the things that like people would do in like other reality shows to tell them like, hey, like do this or do that. Like, how much is coming from that command center?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming that all reality shows look like the behind the scenes in this show.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like with how many cameras there are. Like, this had that full gambit of cameras. So like, okay, you move here, and like somebody's the puppet master there, and then who's like controlling like all the people and everything. That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. So the show kind of starts out with this like fake game, which everything in the show is fake. So whatever. Uh, they have everyone in a blindfold in like a semicircle because the cameras are facing them, and they all take their blindfolds off. And somebody says, "You have 4 minutes," And so they're all in this room and they have no idea what they're doing for like these supposed 4 minutes. And, you know, we don't have a good sense of what's going on either, to be honest. But eventually, like, we find out this one guy's supposed to win. He's supposed to win. And he's kind of, stressing about that. And then there's this one woman that's supposed to like hit a button. And then at the end of these 4 minutes, they like solve whatever they were supposed to do, which we don't know. They have to like put some sticks in a thing. I don't know. So the guy wins that's supposed to win. And then the woman that pushed the button gets kicked out of the show for a button violation.
Yeah,
And, Ben calls her out as an actor right away.
yeah, that was a little ridiculous to just kind of be like hamming it up that much. Oh, you're taking me out? What? What? No, no. And like everybody would be like a little bit upset, but it's just like, all right, it's a reality show. You haven't been here for like more than 5 minutes. You're gonna get a little paycheck.
I mean, the thing is like no reality show is going to kick anyone off after 5 minutes. Like they spent time getting all these people, interviewing all these people, and like just to have them get kicked off at the first like 5 minutes of the show is just like not going to happen. So the only way that would happen is if that was a producer or a mark or somebody that's like
Mm.
not a mark, but like a plant to get
I
kicked off.
I feel like we've seen some reality shows where they kick people off like with like the initial first challenge, and I don't remember whether there was a redemption thing or not. A challenge maybe comes to mind where it's just like they have an initial race and like the last people get kicked off.
Yeah, I guess they did do that in Survivor, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's unheard of to kick somebody off initially. It would suck. If I was a producer, I would just be like, get extra people, throw them in there, kick those people off.
Well, with the challenge, like it's the people, right? It's not
Yeah,
so
they're still getting the
you can,
clout.
yeah. So I don't know, maybe you're right, but it's definitely suspicious. So like she acted suspicious. She was suspiciously kicked off after 5 minutes. Like easy to call her out as an actor.
Yeah, exactly. Or like if somebody does, yeah, I guess just hey, like was this set up or something? They recovered nicely, but I feel like there was also like a lot too much panic for that.
Yeah, and then we find out the name of the show in the show is called the Goat or just Goat, which I think is great. There's just goats everywhere. The set dressing is so funny. Like the humor of this goat, they really like dig into this goat thing and it's great.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the winner of the challenge or whatever gets to be what did I write? The holder of the horns and they have to send people to sacrifice what the host calls it and like they get to wear like some sort of goat mask at the end which I found pretty good. Yeah, so this whole goat thing is great. The show itself is a little weird. So like the goat show is a fake show that some of the contestants know of the Asian version of the show, and this is the U.S. version of that Asian show, and that doesn't exist, which I think is a good like that's some good detail. They got some details down here,
yeah,
and the show they like do I guess some sort of crazy game determine who the winner is, and then every night everyone says who they think is who they want in the sacrifice center or whatever, the two people they want there, and then the two people go there, and then the winner gets to just eliminate one, which usually it's like the winner gets to pick two people to go down, and then everyone else gets to like pick who they want to go home, right? Doesn't that
yeah.
make more sense?
That makes a lot more sense. But I guess like putting in the hands of the holder of the horns means that they get to make the sacrifice.
Yeah,
They're
I
doing the
don't.
slaughtering. Yeah, I'm fine with that. It changes it up a little bit.
I think it's just easier to control because they get to pick the two people that will get kicked out, and they get to pick the holder of the horns. They just get to pick who gets get out essentially. And there's nothing like Ben can really do unless he is the holder of the horns.
Right. Which,
Which there is this in this season on he has the mask on, which
yeah, and I don't see why they wouldn't give it to him at some point. It's
I think that would be a great costume idea. That mask, it's a good mask. Somebody says it's like $2 at Party City, and I think that guy's a fucking liar. I guarantee you that's a better mask than any mask you're getting at Party City.
I mean, they probably did some enhancements, or like they maybe have like some cheap ass like decoration thing for like Hollywood people. But I can imagine it being that dirt cheap.
Well, I don't know. It looks pretty good.
It
That's
did
all.
look really good. Yeah, yeah, you can add some stuff to it, make it feel more solid and less flimsy. Because that would be another thing. If they do give it to Ben and he's like, "What is this fucking thing?" Then we'd know.
It's cheap,
Yeah,
but like, how many things in movies are cheap? But how many things in reality shows are cheap?
everything. They're going lowest budget, most money.
That's fair. That's fair. So after this like initial game, we get to kind of meet a couple people. I wrote down some of the people, but we didn't meet everyone, which I think is a huge plus in this show because there's too many people to meet everyone, and I appreciated that we got to like focus in on a couple people, which huge plus. We meet Ryan. He's some sort of YouTuber. His personality is a YouTuber. Unclear if he's a real YouTuber. It kind of got that sense.
I don't think any of them are like who they are, but like I mean, you can know like about a YouTuber, social influencer, pretty easily. I don't think he's like a real YouTuber.
Then we got Jonathan. He is his thing was he was a Hollywood like diva. He was supposedly in Stuart Little. Was this guy in Stuart Little? Do we
Absolutely,
know?
I don't think so. Did we check his
We need
IMDb?
you gotta enter a corner of this.
All right.
Yeah. So spoiler alert. He like I'm just surprised he didn't get called out for being an actor because he acted like a real dick. And who goes on one of these reality shows that acts like a real dick after people vote to kick you out?
Yeah, I think that's just a little aggressive initially, but he's probably going like, everybody knows me as the cute kid, in, Stuart Little,
I mean, supposedly,
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 and
we
just because
gotta
like
know
so many
though.
years have passed, that's a wild cut.
Just go look up
I'm
who
looking up
played
Stuart
the kid.
Little.
And what?
I'm looking up Stuart Little and who that played the kid, and then
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going from there. But yeah, I don't. I can fully believe that they did the pictures, and it's just like, all right, cool.
Well, the guy's already suspicious, and then this guy acts like a dick. Like Ben wants this guy out of the show. Um, and spoiler alert, he does get eliminated from the show.
No.
No. Then we got Maya. She's like some sort of gamer girl. She like
Ooh.
knows how the game is played. This is her character, knows how the game is played because she knows the Asian version of this show. And she's supposed to be in alliance with Ben. That's like her role.
No way. So this was Jonathan Lipnicki.
There you
That
go.
was him.
I mean, why would they make that up?
It's that's just such a deep cut. Why would you? You can make
I
it any.
mean, how are you going to recognize the kid from Stuart Little?
I'm not.
He's like 40. How old is he now? Like 50?
What did they say on here? I don't know. He's probably 50. Oh no, 1990. Yeah, no, he's not that
Oh,
old.
he's only like
35.
35. Soon to be 35, probably.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, which they do get into an alliance, Maya. And then we've got Charles Michael. He's a conspiracy theorist. and he also gets in an alliance with Ben. And Ben is talking to this guy about real conspiracy theories. And like, I find it a little ridiculous, this
Yeah.
conspiracy theory stuff nowadays. This guy Charles like claims at some point that JFK wasn't shot by the name is escaping me.
Oh, yeah. Like it. Anytime you start going in that route, why would you bring that up in a reality show? That's just why. And
Because
then I would be questioning that.
that's his personality. He's a conspiracy theorist. That's all he gets.
Oh my
That's
god!
his
But
character.
this is why it's like they're not great actors because that's just like too over the top. For like, you would have to be like really just like gullible, for lack of a better word. Like, I don't want to use that, but he's really gullible if you're just believing that shit.
What, Ben?
Yeah.
Or the guy that's
No, no,
like,
no, no, Ben, because it's like, okay, who let this crazy person on? Like, what is he
but
thinking?
Ben doesn't believe, Ben believes JFK was shot by Oswald. But the the other guy said that he didn't
Yeah,
believe.
right,
But
exactly.
the real conspiracy theory for JFK is that like the FBI or CIA was involved,
Yeah,
or another person was involved. Not that Oswald didn't do it. I've
yeah,
never heard that.
and that's why it's also just weird. It doesn't follow any of the other conspiracy theories, or even just it's an it's a wild one. Go with a light one, and then it's like, all right, I can
Yeah, but
kind of
he
see
did,
this.
and then he did go with some light one, and Ben was like talking about it, and then he had no idea what like his softball
Oh,
thing was. So that's why I think he had to go a little more hardcore because Ben was already he is a conspiracy theorist himself.
that's a good point. Yeah, oh, yeah. If you're caught in that, that's a hard one to get out of.
And then we meet Trevor and Chastity. They're singing twins, or they're singing siblings or something.
Singing siblings.
Singing siblings, and they're from a for-profit church, the first ever for-profit church, which their dad is a pastor of or something. I thought that was a pretty good storyline. I liked that. That was funny.
Yep.
Um, and then there was Lewis, which they claimed was a fake producer. Which, what do you mean a fake producer? He's just a producer on the show. He's telling people to go point A to point B. Like, that's just a producer.
Right.
He's
You're
not a
not a fake
fake
at that
producer.
point.
Like, you can't be a fake producer. Like, what do you mean a fake producer? What does that even mean? Like, you just sit around and eat cake? Like, you're just like that's still a producer. Like, you're still in the back. Like, I was very confused.
I think they just want to keep up the persona that everybody's fake. Like, he's never been a producer. Maybe no, he's got to have been. No, what?
I don't know.
He's a
It
producer.
doesn't matter. The
Yeah,
producers are telling the other producer what to do as a production guy. Like, he's a producer.
yeah, he's a producer.
He's like, you're acting like a producer by doing producing things. Well, guess what? You a producer. Then there was like, those are the only people I wrote down. There was some guy that kept saying Splunk.
That was Ryan.
That was Ryan.
Yeah,
Hashtag Splunk. Um, which was pretty obnoxious.
just
And
like any other
then
YouTuber. Maybe he's one.
Maya kept saying Ben was a physical threat, and he would be voted. He might be voted in that night, which he was. Ben and Jonathan were the two sent to sacrifice, or like two up for sacrifice. And then they have a great like voting ceremony, like the whole like it's like Survivor, but like so goaty that it's like funny. Like, it's just like, it's very good. And they like smash an urn with their like a caricature of them on it to kick them out, which is very good. Chef's kiss on that front.
And these caricatures are awful looking. Like,
Uh,
they're almost like, just who would do this? Who did they pay to do this?
yeah, and the one thing is like they did it too well, whereas like the people on the show are laughing. and they keep having to cut away from people because they're laughing,
Yeah. That's
which
not
is
a
not good.
no, but I mean it also adds a little realism, but it's not good.
Yeah. The one confessional had a pretty funny story where like the one dude was like trying not to laugh, but the other guy on the show said that in order to not laugh, I'm just like, what was he? He's like
You-
squeezing his penis
Yeah.
as hard as possible, and then so that made the one guy just picturing the other guy squeezing his penis made him laugh. Um, which is this is pretty good confessional. Like it's a top tier confessional right there.
Oh yeah. You're not gonna get find anything better than that.
Which you know, it's hard to tell how much like Ben is suspicious of what's going on here. Like people are laughing during the ceremony, people are acting weird. You already called out an actor,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah, so your suspicions are a little high.
I mean, they should be.
Yeah.
You're on a fake show. I hope your suspicions are high.
Yeah. And I that's where I do think that the people laughing at this silly thing, yeah, it kind of makes sense because it's like the first time. If they're still doing it like in a couple weeks, no.
But if you're a contestant on the show, why would you be laughing? What are you laughing at? Like, aren't you
Yeah.
like, oh, this is so cool? Like, what? You're not. They're like, they're laughing because it's all fake.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it I'd be laughing at the absurdity of it, but then it's like, yeah, you're on this show. You're just like kind of
Yeah,
thinking about the
yeah. Like
elimination.
they're laughing because it's absurd. But what you should really be thinking about is getting eliminated and not getting that $100,000.
Yep.
Which that's not a laughing matter. It's no laughing matter right there.
Serious business.
Especially since the show's only 10 days long, which we don't normally get into the production schedule, but they said it was only 10 days long. That's a pretty good paycheck for 10 days.
Yeah.
And
That is
like you're
extremely good.
like 1 in like 12 or whatever how many people are on the show. Like that's pretty good odds right there.
Yeah. All you all you got to do is last 10 days in this crazy ass house.
And then you're on your way to Cabo.
Yeah. We're getting a new condo.
And that's like the end of the show is like the person gets eliminated and then they do it this season on, which was fine.
Yeah. Shows him like just, oh, he's going to go a little rogue. You just have to keep up with him. Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other comments, Brian?
I think those are all the comments that I had. I mean, I did write down his last name, Frizzone, whatever. But yeah, got nothing else. Can we move on to questions?
Well, the only comment I have is like, just like we've done these shows and I've always found them to be mean spirited as like a concept, like to take a person and then just like throw them into Truman Show. And like the point of the Truman Show is how fucked up are you for putting this person in a Truman Show in the Truman Show? And you're like, it's fucked up to put somebody in a fake show and have everyone act around you and then pretend it's real. Like that's just fucked up. I don't know why I keep allowing us to do these types of shows. Probably shouldn't allow us to do it because I feel like it's fucked up.
I I still only think it's fucked up if it's like you're like actively lying to like a lot of people and like it's like messing with like emotions and stuff. Like to
Well,
me here, like this is like okay, you're like interacting with people in real life. There's going to be crazy people. I don't necessarily know how different it is, and they're going to give him $100,000 at the end.
I mean, I think it's just a principle thing. Like
Maybe
I
I
just
could see it
think
also
it's
if like
like
they were
he's gonna need therapy. You need therapy after this. Everyone around you is lying to you for 10 days, and crazy shit was happening, and you're like,
yeah
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna affect my rating for sure.
100K will affect his therapy sessions.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, who's the worst human being on the show?
I mean, you're going to say the producers. Um, I'd probably agree with that. That'd be about the only thing.
I don't know.
Maybe,
I feel like it's not the producers. It's like the executives that decided that they wanted to remake the show.
yeah,
The producers are just doing their job. They're finding the person, you know, you know, they don't have any moral qualms probably against this. So like, you know,
yeah,
everyone along the chain probably doesn't have any moral qualms, I guess.
probably not. Yeah,
Only me.
maybe it's John Philip Nicky.
Uh, yeah. Let's do some drinking rules for the show. Anytime Ben is suspicious, drink half your drink. Brian, what do you got?
Anytime you see them don their goat robes or like those like attires, because I think that those come into play like more than like the elimination.
You should
Take a
just
drink.
drink every time you see a goat.
That's I didn't want to kill people, Chris.
I do.
You,
Kill
you
me, kill you.
you've told me in the past I need to dial it back, and now I'm dialing it back, and now you're like going full on to
Absolutely
this.
not. Drink every time. Drink every time. You could all drink every time you see like the command center.
Ooh, I like that one. Drink every time somebody breaks character.
Well, I mean, is that in the confessional or non-confessional?
No, not confessional. No, like the confessional is not character because they're doing whatever.
Okay, yeah. So like they're laughing at the
Yeah,
elimination. That's like breaking character. I like it. Would this show be better as a Quibi or TikTok, Brian?
I have to say no. It kind of moved. It was just like with all like the little things like they were talking about. I didn't really feel like you can cut much out, or like I would not want to see like just like a small part of this.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it was. I yeah. We'll get into ratings. I don't think it would be better as Quibi or TikTok. What speed did Max watch the show at? 0.0 because he
Sad.
didn't watch it, and that's why he's not here. So everyone, tweet at Max. Tell him that he sucks for not being here. He's not going to listen to this anyway, so he doesn't know. So tell him he sucks.
Watch who will listen to it, and then it's like, damn.
All right. Are we into ratings? Do we have any other questions we need to bring up?
I don't think we. Yeah,
All right.
there were.
Let's do ratings. We do a stack ranking system between top, middle, and bottom third. And some people stack rank in their stack ranks. Brian?
I see where you're coming from with like the morality of it. I don't see it as much as like a prank show, like aside from like just like like the length of time. So I kind of like this. I'm gonna put it in the top at the bottom of the top, and then got to check out episode 2, which I think just dropped, and see how well it holds up.
Um, yeah. I I do think that like a lot of the show is a top third show. But I'm going to put it in the middle just because I don't find it fun to cheer on. Yes, we're making this guy believe all this crazy shit's happening, which this episode didn't have a whole lot of that. So, like, it kind of squeaks by. Whereas, like, I gave a top third to jury duty because it was really entertaining and, like, but then the last episode shows like behind the scenes of like people cheering and being woo, look what we did to like make him believe that this was real when it's not real. And that really, really put a sour taste in my mouth. Like
Hmm.
whereas like this behind the scenes seems it does not like laying into that, which is good, but I also could see it doing that as the time goes on. But overall, I thought this episode was edited well. I thought the concept was well. I thought it was a very good episode of television. But just like what'll give me the ick of any show is like this, like cheering on this guy believing he's in a fake world. I'm out. So I'm gonna put it in the middle.
I imagine you're gonna see that cheering at the end when it's like hey, like we like this is a fun thing. You got $100,000. Like they will probably celebrate it.
No, I know. Yeah, that's why I can't. I can't do it. Can't do it. All right, tell us what you thought about this show at X at Who Put This On. Brian, any shout outs this week?
Um, Still keeping up with Severance. Still like keeping up with Beast Games, which is actually what we're gonna do next week. Um,
Yeah. Do you have an episode we're going to do? Are we just doing episode one?
so Katie and I have watched them all. I think there's two like really good ones. Like the first one is obviously good because it's just like doing like introduces everything, and they do the whole oh yeah, the next time on they're gonna show the resolution. So starting in the middle is could be a little weird, but episode 3 is also really good. It has like a good full game there, and the intro thing is very easy to explain. So if we want to do episode 3, we should do episode 3.
No. Do you think we should do episode three?
Yeah, let's do episode 3.
So we're going to do Beast Games episode three next week if you want to follow along. And then my shout outs. I've been playing Black Mesa, which is a remake of Half Life, and it is really good. I think Half Life, I remember playing being really good, and Black Mesa is just as good. I think it's excellent. I really excited to finish the game. It's paced well, the level editing's well. It just brings me back a little bit to being a teenager because it's like a first person shooter told in like the story isn't told in cutscenes or anything. It's just told, you know, in engine, which is really novel at the time. And even today, it's not really done that often. So
No,
I would shout that out.
that's a good pick. I have it on my to-do list.
I have like 1,000 games on my to do list right now. So
Yeah, just slowly work through.
all right. Well, that's it for us this week. You can find us on Twitter at @whoputthison. You can find us on Facebook.com/whoputthison. Email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. See you guys next time.
Bye.